Now we are discussing what is instantaneous velocity and what is instantaneous speed. We already discussed what is average velocity. Average velocity tells how fast an object moves in a given time interval from a point A to point B. If this is a point A and this is a point B, how fast the object is moving from A to B. But now the question is, we want to know how fastly the object is moving in a given time interval, maybe from this spot to this spot, C and D. The time interval are from a given time interval, how the object is moving from C to D. So for that, we are defining instantaneous velocity and assume when there is no time change at that particular instant, means the time change is not there. But in reality, the time change is not there, is practically we cannot accept it. For that, we are using the concept of the limits. So limit delta t tends to 0 means we are saying the time difference is almost 0. The delta t tends to 0. There is no change in the time. At that particular time, how fastly the object is moving, from what position to another position the object is moving, that can be given by instantaneous velocity. So it is defined as how fastly the object is moving from one point to another point at a particular instant of the time. The same thing can be explained with the dx by dt, which is a derivative of the x with respect to derivative of the t. So the change in the time, how fastly the position is changing from x1 to x2 with respect to a small change in time t1 to t2, that small change is almost 0. That is instantaneous velocity. Now, what is instantaneous speed? If the object is not traveling in a straight path, if the object is traveling in some other path which is not straight, at that time, in order to describe the path of the object, we told at the time we generally don't take the direction. So it is distance and how fastly the object is moving from A to B in this path, in this curvy path, that can be given with the average speed. So now the question is, in order to give how fastly the object is moving in a particular instant, again, the time interval is almost 0. At that time, how fastly the object is moving from one point to another point, that is given by the instantaneous speed. Now we will take one diagram that will make you understand it properly. So here we are taking 2 points A and B. Assume that the object is traveling in the straight line. Then we want to know how fastly the object traveled from A to B. So for that, we require average velocity. It is, so initially it is x1, A is x1, B is x2. So the change is x2 minus x1. Because it is displacement, it has direction. And the time interval is t2 minus t1. It is average velocity, there is no doubt. But now we have taken a small particular time interval t. That means t2 minus t1 is almost, that is equal to 0. When t2 minus t1 is almost equal to 0, at that time, how fastly the object is moving. So the time interval is very small. At this time, how fast the object is moving, that can be given with instantaneous velocity. So now the same thing we are representing with a limit t2 minus t1, limit t2 minus t1 tends to 0. Now x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1. This represents the instantaneous velocity. Now, if the problem is changed, now the object is moving from A to B, but it is not moving in the straight line, it is moving in the curvy path. At that time, how fast the object is moving from A to B, it is given with the average speed. Similarly, if we want to know in a particular instance when the time interval is very small, t2 minus t1, is almost zero. At the time how fast the object is moving on this curvy path, it can be described by using the instantaneous speed.